All right, guys. Injuries from the game. Tart had a groin. Positive news from the MRI, so he is on Wednesday. Mitch Wisnowski's still in the protocol. Bufanga irritated his same knee. We'll see where he is Wednesday. He'll still have a chance. Elijah Mitchell has nothing worse, but it will be the same plan with him this week with his knee with being limited. Jimmy Garoppolo made out of the game in good shape. Be a similar plan for him this week also. That was it from the game.
Kyle,
do you expect K1 Williams to have a full week of practice and be available on Sunday?
Yeah, I didn't get to talk to him today, but yeah, I'd be surprised he wasn't good to go Wednesday.
Kyle, do you kind of feel like at this point in the season you're about as healthy as you possibly could be?
Yeah, I do. I mean, just staying there just from the game, those guys that we mentioned, all some big guys, but just having the chance to get all those guys back this week and, being able to add a few guys there last week, especially with Greenlaw and stuff was huge. Hopefully we'll get the guys that missed with Trent back and maybe Aziz, maybe Marcel. But yeah, I feel pretty good at this point compared to earlier in the year.
It sounded like
Kyle, how close was Trent Williams to coming back?
I mean, it seemed real close because he took it all the way as far as he could, but there was no chance of going. Once he did that, he wasn't going to be in good enough shape to protect himself or the quarterback in the game, so it was tough on him. But I think he was as excited as anyone after we won because he's going to do everything he can, and he just needs 7 more days.
So are you expecting him to practice Wednesday, or are you kind of in wait-and-see mode on that one, too?
I'm totally wait and see. Probably be surprised if he does, but see how it goes. But I know he couldn't today.
What impact did that do as a coach, and what's it going to be like going up against his defense this week?
I mean, Dan Quinn's one of the best coaches I've been around, one of the best people I've been around. I got as much respect for him as anyone I've ever worked with. I haven't jumped into it a ton yet. Doesn't surprise me how much he's helped them this year, and they got a real good one, and feeling he won't be in that position very long.
Al, you had a lot of guys that came back and were immediately productive for you, like Dre Greenlaw, Emmanuel Mosley. What can you say about the fact that they can just jump in like that and didn't seem like they had much rest?
I mean, that's something that's hard to understand because not many human beings can relate to that. I mean, that's just a special thing by those guys. The work that they did to give themselves the opportunity to do that. I mean, Dre's had been so frustrating for him since the beginning of this year, and just all the ups and downs he's had, and he's been doing everything he can to get back. And E-Man just having that high ankle sprain a month ago and how hard that is to come back from it. Watching him work here on the side this last month, they've been on a mission to try to get back, whether it was for 1 game, 2 games, it didn't matter. And for us to win that game versus Houston was huge because it gave those guys an opportunity that they were waiting for. And those guys came in and they played as hungry as it seemed like they were to get out there, and they were been real tough to win without them.
Kyle, when Mosley on Mosley's interception and Ambry Thomas's interception, what did you think when those balls were in the air going deep? And then what did it look like on film in terms of their technique when you watched it today?
Ambry was perfect. He stayed on top the whole time. You're in 3 deep. You got a bailing corner, and Stafford. It looked like he just threw it up to give Odell a chance, and I thought it was awesome how quickly Ambry read the ball in the air, and he was able to react on it much quicker than the receiver, get the pick and in the game. And Mosley was great too. He was he was outside, and they tried to sneak the slot receiver behind him, and they might have had a step on him from inside out, but when it's that deep and that far away, the man travels faster than the ball, and E-Man was able to catch up with it, run through it, and make the play. And that's one of the harder things to do when you've been off a while because you don't get to catch a lot of balls. And judging the trajectory of the ball that far down the field takes a little bit of time, but that was a huge pick for him, and both of them were huge plays.
Kyle, that game, took everything, and it took 68 minutes and all your energy, and you have to go on the road, for the second straight week, and your bye was, I think the earliest in the NFL with other teams in week 6. I say all that just to ask you, will you have like kind of a different schedule this week at all, just to account for some of the wear and tear at this point?
We've kind of been doing that the last 3 weeks, last month anyways, so nothing will change this week compared to last week. We'll just be heading out there on Friday and got to see the players some today. They'll come in here on Wednesday. We usually have a half speed on Wednesday, get our full practice on Thursday, and another half one on Friday. But our guys in a good place. Nothing about them seems tired right now. They're pumped for this opportunity, and they're real excited to come to work today.
Kyle, with Debo, it seems like he just has a sort of unparalleled knack and instinct for the game. He adjusted on that deep throw to him, or looked like he was going to the corner and came back at the end of the fourth quarter and just breaks off every single tackle. I mean, are you just sort of in awe of the things he does, just his knack for the game every single week?
Yes. Yeah, Debo is one of the most aware people I've been around, and the smarter receivers I've been around. It's extremely natural to him. He works hard, but not the stuff that you can't work at, just how he sees it live and the feel he has and the poise he has. That's what's so cool. You see a lot of guys play pretty physically in this game, in this league. But guys got to really go to a certain place to get to that level, and Debo doesn't. That's just naturally who he is. Be asleep right before kickoff, and he'll come out and not hesitate on the first play. So when you're like that, it allows your heart rate to be level, your breath to be level, and you have a certain poise to you, so you can kind of do the more instinctual stuff and yet still be violent enough to play at the level he does. Is not something you see in a lot of athletes.
When you were watching him at the Senior Bowl 3 years ago, and thinking about him before the draft, were you guys at all contemplating running back, saying to yourselves, "Oh well, this is a guy that we might have some position versatility with," just given what he did in Mobile? No,
not really. I would like to say we did, but we definitely didn't try him at running back there, and we never really saw him on college. We knew going into that draft we had to get a receiver, and made the decision to not go the free agent route. And we spent our money in some other places, and we knew we had to go get a receiver. And just looking at the group that we had at the time, we thought it was so important, regardless of what type of receiver we added. We had to add a physical guy, a guy who could kind of intimidate guys with just how he played, with his size, breaking tackles, things like that. And that's why we really liked Debo. Whatever his pluses and minuses were, we knew that he was a physical guy, and that's what we knew we needed to add to our group. And to add him, he was that from the beginning, and we just found out more about him as we went. And to be able to use his physicality as a receiver has been huge, and now that we've been able to add the running back part, it just makes it so much easier to get the ball in his hands.
Kyle, obviously you were around the Niners in the 90s when they were going up against Dallas so often in the postseason. And I'm just wondering what are some of your memories of that rivalry back then, and maybe what it means to you now to get a chance to kind of be part of it in a different way.
Oh, I think that's as cool as it gets, because that's the coolest part of my childhood growing up, I feel like. My senior year in high school, my dad was with the Broncos, and we were able to beat the Packers in the Super Bowl, which was unbelievable. But before that, it was 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 92, 93, 94. Every single year, I thought we were the best team in the league. I think it was 14-2. Steve Young wins the championship, and we played Dallas, who I think was 10-6 or 11-5. And I remember being on that sideline and just watching how good the Cowboys were, and it was unbelievable. And next year, going to Dallas for the home field advantage, and we all know what happened there. That one wasn't even close. And then the third year, in free agency, they got Ken Norton. They added Dion in week 3. And then they have that game at home where Eric Davis started it off, I think, with a pick 6. They had Dion fall around Alvin Harper because he had hurt the Niners in those 2 years previously. Michael Irvin went off, but they limited Alvin Harper, which was good, and Eric Davis made those plays and made a little comeback at the end. I think there was a fumble in the opening kickoff or something. But, as you can tell, those games, I still remember them, and I've never watched them. It was a part of my childhood. childhood that was such cool football because everyone knew those 3 NFC championships. Those 3 years were the Super Bowl.
Kyle, do you think that's the rivalry is big on your team right now?
You guys both talked at the same time. Area.
Yeah, I was just seeing if...
so it's Black Monday and teams around the league have been cleaning house.
All right, I'll go Black Monday question first. What was that?
Perfect. So obviously teams around the league, they're cleaning house with their coaching staff and their front office. Do you expect them to come poach on your staff, whether it's D'Amico Ryan, Mike McDaniel, and then Adam Peters? And just focusing on D'Amico Ryan, have you seen any head coaching-like qualities out of him just 1 year into the job?
Oh, definitely. I've seen head coach qualities out of Miko when he was a player, when he was a quality control, when he was a linebacker coach, and now when he's a coordinator. So he's always had those qualities. It's just about him getting the reps and getting the experience to matter of time with him. And he's already got enough, so if the team comes calling, they'll get a hell of a one. But I don't want to lose him yet. So hopefully for my sake and the Niners' sake, they let him get a few more years here. But no, he's ready, and I feel the same way about Mike. Got a good staff here, and what AP's done for us in our 5 years here, and how much he's helped us build this. What Rand Carthon's done. I mean, we got a lot of guys here who I feel very fortunate to have.
We'll do 2 more, guys.
Who was the other one there who tried to ask one?
Yeah, I was just talking about the rivalry. Obviously, it was such a big part of your childhood. Do you think that with this locker room, I mean, obviously it was a long time ago that the gravity of it all is understood by these players?
Not at all. I wish I could say yes, but I mean, some of these players were born in the 2000s, so you like to think so, but every day, quarterback room, when I ask certain questions like wedding crashers and stuff, and they don't even know that sometimes. Get very surprised at the difference in some of this stuff, but our guys know how big of a deal the playoffs are, and our guys are pumped for this game no matter who we're playing.
Kyle, the margin between making the playoffs and not making them was obviously so tiny this year. Have you had time to just reflect on some of the small contributions? I'm talking guys like Tom Compton maybe on the offensive line, or maybe even what the Kivitz did yesterday. Do you have time to reflect and appreciate that if you don't get that, you probably don't make the playoffs?
Oh, without a doubt. I feel like I'm as aware of that as anyone, maybe even more than they are. I mean, guys have done here, like, to keep this going for us, and I mean, from the guys you just mentioned, from what Denard did yesterday. I mean, Dante Johnson playing nickel, and then all of a sudden going to safety, which he doesn't take any reps at, and getting 27 reps at safety. It's been unbelievable by a ton of our guys. Robbie Gould punting yesterday, and that punt, the punt that forced the fair catch when we had a 0.4% chance of winning, which surprises me. We did have 3 timeouts, but I feel like it should have been higher than that. But I love our team, and it's something that we point out a lot, and it's usually what be on tape when we watch it together.
Go ahead, Branch, last one.
Kyle, obviously each season is its own entity, but I mean, your first 4 years you had the Super Bowl season, and then for whatever maybe the roster wasn't ready or injuries for the other seasons that didn't work out. But being able to battle through injuries and adversity this season, I guess, I don't know if you ranked them or whatever, but is this in some ways your most gratifying season as a head coach?
I don't know. The season's still going on, so I haven't even thought about it. You do that when it's all said and done, and I know that 19 season was extremely special. Just the team we had and the way we did it and how close we were, and I know we were pretty all heartbroken with the last 6 minutes of that year. So it's hard to up that one, and I also know we didn't go into that year with people expecting us to do anything. But, I mean, this is a special year, too. I mean, last year there was a lot of things that tough about it and that were extremely disappointing, but I don't totally label those type of things as not successful. I mean, yeah, you don't reach your goals and stuff, and that's tough, but I feel a lot of what we went through last year built us for this year. I think everything's kind of connected to each other, and each season's its whole new entity, but it's important that you go through those things, the good and the bad. And we've been through a number of good and bad things in the 5 years that I've been here. And this season we've been through a number of good and bad things. And you look at the game yesterday, you go through a bunch of good and bad things. And it's about just fighting and not worrying about it and do whatever you can to come out on top. And I'm just pumped that we're still fighting. We still got a game this week that's guaranteed to have at least this one. And I want to make sure that we put all the work in this week and we leave it all on the field. So when it's said and done, hopefully we get a chance to play again.
Hey, Kyle, to clarify, did anybody come and request to interview any of your coordinators or Adam Peters or Rand?
Not that I no one's told me that yet today.
Okay. Thanks.
If that changes, I'll have someone get it to you.
Someday. All right, thanks.
Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. Take care. See you Wednesday.